Thank you for clicking on my video. I am going to be going over the important parts and connecting parts from the two Fire and Ash trailers. I know this video is so late. Please don't come after me. I ended up prioritizing the Chaos Theory video over this one because I wanted to get that one out somewhat on time because this one was already late. So it's really late now. But yeah. I don't really have a whole lot to say. So let's just get right into it. Alright, starting off strong with the first shot of this trailer, we can see Loak and Jake back in the Hallelujah Mountains, or these are potentially new floating mountains. In other clips, we can see like water underneath them that looks like a big ocean or like a big lake, and I don't think that the Hallelujah Mountains have water underneath, so these could be new ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we can see Jake and Loak back in the Hallelujah Mountains. We then see Kiri and Soraya riding an Elude down to the remains of the big RDA ship that sunk in the previous movie in that big battle. That was an awesome battle sequence. I love that. We then see what I'm thinking is the scene from a few seconds earlier, and we can see that Loak was actually with Kiri and Soraya, or at least waiting for them, and they went down to get the remains of Neytiri's bow, the bow that her dad gave her as he was dying, and that scene was crushing. Oh my gosh. So many people die in this franchise. I'm really hoping that nobody dies in Fire and Ash, although I know that's not happening. But I'm gonna be sad. Whoever it is, that's gonna be so sad. Anyway. We then see Soraya telling Loak the strength of the ancestors is here, which could be referring to the fact that the bow belonged to their grandfather before it belonged to their mother, and like a generational ancestral thing. But she was touching like his heart, so I think she was telling him that the strength of the ancestors is within him. Maybe they were having a conversation and he was saying he doesn't feel strong enough to do something, so she was reassuring him. But it also does look like that same continuous scene, and we can see Kiri with them now. So I don't know, I'm interested to see what she's referring to, what she's talking about here. Let me know what you think, because I'm curious. I want to hear people's theories about like why she's telling him this. That's one of the lines that was like, that's interesting. I like that line. I'm excited to see more of that scene. We then get our first look at the Wind Traders, and oh my gosh, these guys look insane. Like they look just like their original pieces of concept art for them, which I mean, that's what I love about. I know this isn't technically an animated movie, but that is what I love about animated movies, because you can always make stuff look exactly like the concept art. So I thought that was really cool. They look just like it. And from the few moments that they're on screen, we can see that they're very colorful people. I think that they're likely going to be like an embodiment of everything beautiful on Pandora, taking things that they've traded and sold with other clans and incorporating them into their culture and their everyday stuff, and making them a beautiful mashup of all of the cultures and beautiful things on Pandora. So I think that's going to be really cool. We then see what I'm gonna call the Ashlands. If there's a specific name for it, please let me know. I don't know of one, but it's entirely possible and very likely that there is, and I just haven't heard it yet. So if you know it, let me know. I'd love to know. We can see the volcano that we first assumed was an active volcano, or not an active volcano, the volcano that destroyed the Mangquan village originally. But we can actually see that it is a currently active volcano on Pandora, because right here you can see Quaritch walking up the side of this mountain or hill or something, wearing the duffel bag that he later enters the Mangquan village with. So we can see it is actually an active volcano and not a flashback, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, who would have thought there were active volcanoes on Pandora? Next, we get our first shot of the Mangquan village, and this looks insane. Like, this looks so good. It's like everything I could have imagined and more. I love how they have gone back to their broken and burned down home tree and gone to live there again. Like, that is so cool. I'm gonna go deeper in depth about what I'm gathering from this and other shots that we see later in the video, so stick around. We then see the Sully kids and Quaritch trekking through like a marsh or a swampy area. My first assumption would be that Kiri and Took and Loak have been kidnapped by Quaritch, but we don't see any bonding on them, like any bondage, handcuffs, anything like that. So maybe they're not. Like, I would expect if they were being captured by him that they would be bound somehow, but they're not. There's like nothing on them that's like handcuffs or anything. So that's interesting. Maybe they haven't been captured. Maybe they're working together. I don't know. Like, I found that really interesting. So I'm excited to see what that's all about. If you have theories about that, let me know. We get a quick shot of a Tulkun, likely Payakan, and then we get what looks like an important meeting between the Tulkun and the Metkayina. I think the scene is the scene of a piece of concept art that we got. They look very similar, like the setup is very similar, although they do differ slightly, which is not uncommon for concept art. So I think that these are the same scenes, but I'm really interested to see like what this meeting, maybe like council meeting thing is about. That's gonna be exciting. I have some theories, but I'm gonna keep them to myself for now, and maybe I'll touch on them later. Then we are back to Loak and Soraya, and they're being very cute and coupley and ooh. But we then see Tonowari and Renal, who are looking at each other, or who are looking away at something, and then they look at each other, and they look displeased. I think that they could be looking at Loak and Soraya, and they're like displeased with how close they're becoming. You can see why this could be a problem, because Soraya is supposed to be the next Sahik of the Metkayina, and I don't think that Renal would be very pleased with her deciding to marry Loak instead of taking up that role. We then see Loak push Jake, which to me implies that they have had a disagreement on something Loak feels very strongly about, because he does not seem the type to push his own dad without like a very good reason. I think that Renal and Tonowari talked to Jake and Neytiri about his and Soraya's ship, and he's like telling him like they can't be together or something because of they're from different tribes and she's gonna be the next Sahik and blah 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 blah. So I think that's what he was telling him, and that's why he got really upset, and he's probably like, no, I can do what I want kind of thing. But yeah. We then hear Jake telling Neytiri that she cannot live in hate, and she seems very taken aback. My guess would be either that she didn't realize how she was living until that moment, or that she's surprised that Jake doesn't agree with the way she's living and like what she's doing. I'm gonna guess this is still her being hateful against the RDA, even more so now that they've killed Neteyam, her oldest son. I'm guessing that's why she's living in hate, according to Jake. We then see Quaritch entering the Monquan village with a duffel bag and his hands raised up. And I happen to know that this duffel bag contains guns and ammunition that he is trying to trade with the Monquan for their allegiance with the RDA and like an alignment. I also know that he is raising his hands because he has run into the Monquan before, and the last time did not end well. I will not say any spoilers, but this was the scene that we got to see at the end of the movie, so that's how I know those things. We then get our third line of dialogue in this trailer from Renal, and she's speaking with Kiri, and she says, if there is something you can do, then you must do it, which is interrupted halfway by Jake running in front of a line of battle. It looks like he is giving himself up to the RDA to save everyone else, putting Renal's words into action.
Then you must do it.
We get a quick clip of the RDA assault team crossing the water, and we can actually see the new like warship kind of thing in the background that we saw concept art for, where I believe it's the production designer told us that the battle with this ship in this movie is going to make the battle from Way of Water look like nothing but a skirmish. And I'm that scares me. Like, who's dying? Who's gonna die? Somebody's dying. I don't want it, but it's gonna happen. We then get a really fast clip of Jake comforting Neytiri, and then we get to see the one and only Varong coming out of a structure in the Monquan village. Guys, I am so excited to see this girl in action. I think she's gonna be one of the baddest villains of the series yet. And so I'm so excited to learn about her personality. Like, we don't really know anything about her. So I'm excited to learn about her and see the development of the relationship between her and Quaritch, because I think there's going to be a little bit of romantical tension there. So I'm excited to see that play out. We then get to see the Mangquan people themselves, and they also look so cool. Like, the design for the Ash people is just insane, out of this world, quite literally. And I mean, they just look awesome. We next can see them meeting Quaritch for what looks like the first time. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't look like, okay, so without spoilers, when he walked into the village, that was not the first time they had met. We do see the first time they meet in the trailer, or at least what sounds like the first time they meet. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, but you can see it. So I mean, it might be pretty obvious now, but yeah, so you can see that, and that looks very different from where he's meeting them now. So that either isn't their first meeting or this isn't their first meeting. I'm not entirely sure which is correct, but yeah. So there's that. And then I personally, I do not think Varang can control fire. I've heard a lot of people saying that, but you can actually see her dip her fingers into the oil before she touches the fire. So I think it's just like a science thing. Like, I do not recommend this. I've just seen it in science experiment videos. I've never tried it myself, but when you put hand sanitizer on your hand and then you light it on fire, I think it's something like that. Do not try that. I have no idea if it's safe. I've just seen it online. So I'm not recommending it. Just putting that out there. We then see Neytiri in one of the human med bays with a wound in her shoulder, which we now know from the second trailer is from an arrow wound she sustained while fighting Varang. The arrow wasn't from Varang, it was from somewhere behind them. But we know that that is where that injury came from. We then see the fated moment, which is, I think, going to change the franchise forever. We see Spider's mask break, which goes into him, not the clip, but we know that he is going to be transformed by Eywa to have a Kuru braid and be able to breathe the air of Pandora. I'm so freaking excited. Like, Spider is a goated character. I love Spider. I mean, okay, I love all the characters, so that my statement really means nothing. But this moment is going to change the franchise forever. I know it, and I am so excited to see it in theaters. We then see Neytiri lying across an Ikran with an arrow sticking out of her back. Well, we don't know for sure that this is Neytiri, but I'm thinking it is, because in the second trailer we see her sustain an arrow wound of that same spot. So I think that this is her Ikran is taking her to the human medical center because it knows that she's gonna die and they're the only ones that can help her, which I think is really cool. And we get our final line of dialogue in the trailer from Neytiri, who says, "Then we will find another way," which spurs on a quick montage of battle scenes taking place in either, I think they're new mountains, personally. I don't think these are the Hallelujah Mountains. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that the Hallelujah Mountains have water under them, and we can see water under these mountains the whole time. So we get a new battle in new mountains, I think. Between the Mangquan and the Metkayina and the Sully family. We then see Jake and Spider on the battlefield with like a vortex of blues and purples behind them and like all around them. We can actually see this all throughout the darker parts of the Hallelujah Mountains, or not Hallelujah Mountains. I still think they're new mountains. The new mountain battle scene, and it looks like the first time we can see them is when the RDA arsenal is like coming in over the water, and we get like a view of this whole battle scene. And or not battle scene, but I think where the battle is going to take place, and we can see the vortex just spiraling up into the air. I have absolutely no idea what this could be. If you have any ideas, let me know. I'm thinking Kiri has something to do with it, but I have no idea what it could be. Thank you for watching the first half of this Avatar breakdown. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be posting the second half soon. Have a blessed day. Bye!